holding area. And they're off. The Andrew Jackson Solicitors Restricted. Field of 9 leaves the starting area. Foxy Lee, who sweated freely, in before red. Upsides jumping the first, the latter just in front. What was I going to say? Lou Marvellous, Karismatik follow, then Sponthus, Sunset on Fire and Carriglux, and Arthur's Seat is restrained in the rear. In before red and Dale Peters lead them left-handed towards the second from Foxy Lee. What was I going to say? Lou Marvellous and Karismatik as they pick up at fence number 2. In before red led over it, and they've all jumped it successfully with Arthur's Seat held up last of all. Approaching another left-hand turn that brings them into the home straight. In before red from Foxy Lee, a length back. What was I going to say? And Lou Marvellous are third and fourth, racing in advance of Karismatik and Sponthus, and then Sunset on Fire and Carriglux, and finally Arthur's Seat. Over the third, in before red led over it, all jumped it safely. Foxy Lee continues to chase the leader. What was I going to say is close up on the outside under Jack Andrews. Then follows Lou Marvellous as they work their way up the home straight and onto fence number 4. To the wings of it, in before red from Foxy Lee, and what was I going to say? In Lou Marvellous and Karismatik and Carriglux, and then Sponthus and Sunset on Fire, and Arthur's Seat remains the back marker. Racing in front of the crowd now, on their way to fence number 5. In before red and Dale Peters rise in front of Foxy Lee. What was I going to say? In rear remains Arthur's Seat as they race sharply left-handed, come down the hill to fence number 6. In before red from Foxy Lee, Lou Marvellous moving through on the inside of What Was I Going to Say to take third, then Carriglux making headway under Joe Wright, racing quite keenly, the well-backed Carriglux. Karismatik is next, then Sponthus and Sunset on Fire, and finally Arthur's Seat as they all successfully negotiate the open ditch, which was fence number 7. So a circuit completed in the restricted. In before red from Foxy Lee, Carriglux, Lou Marvellous, and what was I going to say? The front 5, followed by Sponthus and Sunset on Fire. Arthur's Seat a fraction detached as they turn left-handed towards the 9th. In before red, the leader, and Carriglux has slipped up on that bend. Carriglux has come down on the turn. Horse has got up and trotted away, and Joe Wright's getting to his feet as well, seemingly unscathed. Might just have clipped heels around that bend, but Carriglux came down on the flat. The others have all jumped the 9th, with In Before Red leading Foxy Lee and Lou Marvellous. What was I going to say? And Sponthus, Sunset on Fire and Karismatik, and 3 lengths off the back of them is Arthur's Seat. Up the home straight, closing in on fence number 10. It remains In Before Red, who leads them over it from Foxy Lee, who made a mistake. Well sat by Misha Micklewright. Lou Marvellous is tracking the front pair under Will Easterby with What Was I Going to Say on the outside. Sponthus next, then Karismatik and Ellie Callwood at the inside in dark blue and white. Nick Orpwood still holding on to Sunset on Fire as they jump fence number 11. And the last to clear it, 3 lengths off the back of the rest, was Arthur's Seat. So 8 of them will race in front of the enclosures in the Andrew Jackson Solicitors Restricted, on their way towards fence number 12. In Before Red has yet to be headed, leads Foxy Lee by a length. Lou Marvellous, What Was I Going to Say, and Karismatik up the inside, right on terms. Sponthus is also in the mix. Sunset on Fire's in touch. Arthur's Seat's bumped along 4 or 5 lengths off the back of them. The pace is lifting on their way to fence number 13. In before Red from Foxy Lee, Lou Marvellous challenging for second. Then Sponthus, What Was I Going to Say, Karismatik and Sunset on Fire. And they're clear of Arthur's Seat as the open ditch looms up in front of them. In before Red led over it. Lou Marvellous has gone a clear second there, relegating Foxy Lee to third. They're being hunted up by Sponthus, Karismatik, What Was I Going to Say, Sunset on Fire, a few lengths off the leading half dozen, jumping 4 out, and Arthur's Seat a further 8 lengths adrift. So only 3 more fences to jump, still a fair way to gallop, as they head towards the next left-hander. In before Red leads Lou Marvellous by a length going into the bend, then Sponthus, Foxy Lee on the outside of What Was I Going to Say. Sunset on Fire is being called upon for an effort. Karismatik is flat out in 7th, still in touch as they jump 3 out and 5 lengths clear of the back marker Arthur's Seat. Now they're really beginning to trap as they run into the bend after 3 out. In before Red leads Lou Marvellous by a length. Sponthus has gone a clear third. What Was I Going to Say is 4th and ridden. Foxy Lee is losing ground. Sunset on Fire is struggling to get on terms. Then Karismatik, and finally Arthur's Seat at the second last. In before Red with Sponthus, and now the challenger on the far side. Lou Marvellous is still going strongly. They've gone clear of What Was I Going to Say, and are staying on Sunset on Fire, Foxy Lee, Karismatik, and finally Arthur's Seat. Still 3 of them with a good chance between the last 2. The Easterby 2 have taken over though. It's Lou Marvellous and Sponthus jumping the last, a length between them. They've gone clear of In Before Red, who was held in third when falling, hampering several rivals running up towards the line. Lou Marvellous has drawn clear of Sponthus in the closing stages. Lou Marvellous beats Sponthus into second, with Karismatik staying on to be third in front of What Was I Going to Say, Arthur's Seat, Foxy Lee, and finally Sunset on Fire.